Welcome back to another episode of Two-Step Builds. Sorry it's been so long on these episodes. Parts have been very difficult to get with everything, the world coming to an end apparently. It's been very difficult to get parts, to get whatever I need for the Skyline here. I have got enough, I think, to hopefully get the rest of the sound system complete, so we're going to work on that. I got a pretty good game plan for the valve covers, what we're going to do with that. I had some paint that I actually bought for the rear quarter panel that's not going to quite match this, so I don't want to do that. The paint coat on this is a KH2, so I might find a different paint for that before I slap the side covers on there, the side skirts for the body kit there. But we're going to kind of look around this. I'll show you guys what I've got here, and then we're actually going to move inside, start building this back mount, and I'll show you guys exactly everything that I've got. Before we do any of that though, let's go ahead and roll that intro. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take a look at everything that I have got before they shut down most, if not all of the shipping here. But we'll go and flip camera around here. Got a new gimbal. It's kind of cool. It allows me to kind of move around a little bit. I'll show you that, guys, here now. So this here's the new gimbal that we got. Couldn't get that whole camera setup that I really wanted. With crazy times as it is right now, I didn't feel like spending $800-900 on a video system. This was about $100. Comes with a little light. Well, it didn't come with. I got the extra little light, but it's kind of nice. Follows you around. Should be really nice actually for the video. So hopefully this will bring you guys a little bit better content. But we'll show you a little bit more about what we're gonna do here. So welcome back. We go ahead and look around at everything that I've got, everything that I got planned here, everything that I've gotten done in the last little while. I hope I'm not just staring. I gotta probably stare right at the camera here, huh? I'm on the front facing camera. But we'll, again, look at everything that I got. I did get some bits and pieces. I'm actually excited for what we're gonna do here. So we'll go ahead and flip you around, show you what I got planned. All right, so here we go back in the engine bay. Got a little bit of light from my little gimbal here. As you can see, I got my battery charging right now, but you can see I actually decided not to go ahead and, oh boy, you guys can't see anything that I'm doing right now. All right, so there we go. I got a nice little circuit breaker back in there. I was using those fuse boxes or looking at those little fuses that came with the kit, and honestly, they were just trash. I pulled one apart and the whole fuse itself came straight apart with the case itself. So I went ahead and got this. It's a 100 amp circuit breaker, kind of nice. I don't want to drag my, well, I can drag it out a little bit there so you guys can see. Just sets down like that and that'll be on, or it's got the circuit breaker, it can pop, which is actually really nice. I really like that. So went ahead and got that mounted up, got the wiring all around it, routed around, which is actually really nice. I think it looks nice. I'm excited with it. And then as far as the valve covers go, what I got here is I got some paint that was kind of I bought that to try and match some of the body panels. So what we're going to do is I got some brake parts cleaner. I'm going to take that over to my shop and actually get those cleaned up, get those sprayed, and then we'll go ahead and get those reinstalled for now. I don't think I'm going to do anything with the timing cover for now. I don't really want to mess around with the cast right now to get that timing and everything reset. So we'll go ahead and do that. One issue that I have had an issue with is these hoses. Again, you guys saw as I was pulling these off in my previous videos, these things came off just in absolute pieces. People do make kits for these. Most of them are located overseas, and I cannot get anything shipped from overseas right now. So went out and bought some probably just universal hose for now. This is not going to be a permanent solution. I just wanted to be able to get this thing back up and running so it doesn't have to sit here without being run for a super long time. So upcoming videos, I will go ahead and tape as we start to get all of that, the valve covers painted up. We'll get that reinstalled. We'll see how these little hoses and stuff work. I am going to get a catch can, but again, without being able to ship anything right now, it is a little difficult. I think I'm going to go ahead and mount the catch can over there. Probably use maybe one of those bolts if I can. Those look awful big to me, but we'll go ahead and see what we can do as far as getting it mounted over there. So I think the route that I'm going to do this is I'm going to leave the factory PCV. I believe that's the PCV valve there. Come out of there. It'll go into one intake cover, go to the other intake cover, and then it'll go straight to the catch can, and then back down to the factory guy here that actually pulls in from the intake tube. And I believe, as far as what I've read, that we'll be able to do is it will still be able to pull from the intake at low RPM, so basically low vacuum, low, yeah, basically no boost. And then as it starts to create boost is when these start to actually pull a bunch of the oil into the engine, start to mess them up. So at that point, that little guy will close. It'll be able to pull through the catch can back into the intake. Should be good there. I'll just have to keep an eye on that catch can, make sure I empty out when I need to. Couple other things we got. Did get a new oil filter, got some oil I just run. This was actually on sale here, some Mobil. I usually always run Mobil on that, but we'll see how the super synthetic works on that guy. Also, we got a nice AEM fuel pump. My fuel pump, I believe, is starting to get really weak, especially when it's cold. It will start and stutter and then die, and it usually takes me 2 or 3 times to do it. I do know that my gas tank is probably really gross right now. I replaced the fuel filter. If you guys can see the fuel filter right down there, I have replaced that once already, and I developed a leak in this hose, so I took that hose back off, and as I did, a bunch of the rusty colored fuel was pouring out of that, so I'm going to have to go ahead and get that gas tank pulled and cleaned. And I don't know, I believe I've seen a couple of kits or a couple of systems that will actually clean the gas tank. I know the S13s or the 240SX had this factory fuel tank or a tank that will fit this, but they're $500. So I'm going to see what I can do to go ahead and get that done. I got some auto trim removal tool. That little one that I got actually works pretty good, but I figure one of these would kind of be nice as we start pulling off more panels. Those are really nice. I got that on Amazon for like 12, 13 bucks, something like that. And then I did finally get my new head unit. So we'll go ahead and get all those wires wired up, get that guy ready to go. I don't believe I need to run anything else to the back of the head unit. Everything else is going to be running from the amplifier and whatever else. Got some nice heat shrink units. I actually used a couple of these already, and I'll show you on what. I won't be able to because I covered it, but those are kind of cool. Yeah, I'm sure everyone has seen those on their thing. They actually do work pretty good. I'll show you guys as I use those. You put your wires in there, heat them up. I got a heat gun. It shrinks the thing, and then it does melt that solder in the middle and kind of solders everything together, which is kind of cool. So I'll show you guys as I get the head unit there wired up. Trying to think what else I got. I got just some random crap there. I don't think I've gotten much else. A lot of the other stuff, I do have a couple other things to go along with the head unit. I got the parking brake bypass on that. I can show you guys that. And then a couple other things I'm really excited about. I got some suede, so we're going to go ahead and start disassembling a lot of this interior stuff. Hey guys, so welcome back to my dungeon. I mean, my basement here. Got this thing on the gimbal. It's actually kind of cool. It'll actually follow me around. So hopefully this video is turning out kind of cool. I know the camera and the sound and everything on these iPhones is here pretty good. So you hear screaming in the background. That's my family upstairs screaming around. Well, this thing's trying to track me everywhere. Go down, track me up, track me. Kind of cool. Anyways, being at work. Hey, so we got everything moved inside here. I think we'll kind of go over real quick about what we're going to actually do, the layout that I'd like to do on this back piece. I'll show you the fabric I got here. Got some suede again. Go over a couple of things, and then we'll go ahead and probably set you guys up on a time lapse. You guys can kind of watch me do this. I'm going to drill some holes through, show you some of the other components that I got, and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and flip the camera around real quick, and we'll check it out. All right, so here is the back panel that I've built. I think I've shown you that, guys. Shown you that in a couple other videos that I've done. Here is the fabric that I chose out. Again, it's got a little bit of some wood chips, stuff like that. Sorry I say again a lot. I don't know, just the way I am. Again, anyways, fabric, suede. Should actually be really nice. I'm actually excited to kind of see that on the back panels, the interior panel, excuse me, and kind of see how that all turns out. I'm going to just use some of this 3M, or I guess it's Loctite spray adhesive stuff here. We'll see how that holds. This can's just about empty, so I'm going to have to get some new stuff here soon. But looking over this, I really think this is probably the way that I'm going to go ahead and lay this thing out here. So this is one of the other things I haven't shown you guys yet. It's got a cover and some fuses that are over here. So this is actually a fuse block is actually what this guy is here. So got a nice cover for it. Came with a bunch of fuses, and my whole plan here originally was just to go ahead and run the the power cable right to the amplifier. But as I got that fuel pump, I thought, hey, why don't I go ahead and run that, because that's a 4-gauge wire. I can go ahead and use that actually for my fuel pump power as well. But I know if you run it in series, I know that these amplifiers will actually send out some weird signals. I didn't want it obviously messing with the fuel pump. So I'm going to go ahead and run. They'll have the negative here, positive up top, and then 6 possible circuits. Probably just run 20 or a 30 amp fuse for each of those. I'm going to actually drill some holes. I'm going to mount this one, I think, on this side all by itself. Maybe middle. I think I'm going to probably lower it a little bit lower. So then I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole up top and one down low. I'll go ahead and run those power cables out into that. And then, well, that'll be the ground, obviously. And then the power cable come up and out. And then I have some 10-gauge wire I can run out of these guys. I can run one on this side. I can run it straight to the amp right there. So you can see we've got ground, the REM, which is your blue wire typically, and then your 12 volt, and then that's where all of the cables for the speakers are going to come out of there. So we'll go ahead and probably drill a couple of holes through this so we can run those out and down there, and that'll hide them nicely behind this guy. Nobody will ever even see them. It'll just be nice. All you'll see is just a couple of cables there. And then on this side, we'll have the coax cables coming out, and I don't know, a bunch of switches under there. I'm not really sure what all of those do. If I ever decide I do want a subwoofer, kind of cool thing is this has actually got a line out. I could just run an actual thing right out of this guy, and I don't have to run anything else from the head unit. I don't ever have to take that back out again. Those are the those components that I keep calling components, but they're actually the crossovers. So each one of those for each one of the 6.5 and the tweeters. So two in the back and then 2 in the front. So these 2 will run the back 2 speakers as far as the 2 6.5s and the 2 tweeters that are mounted up on that head unit. So again, probably just drill maybe just 1 hole for each of those, run the cables up and across and around the back side, and then they'll come straight out, plug right in, look nice and neat, covered up with some wire cover. Gonna mount this, but this is really pretty heavy, and this is stuff's made out of like a composite or something like that. So I am a little worried that it might break, especially if I'm like hitting some bumps or something and that wants to come loose. So I think I'm gonna probably run maybe a metal bracket or something on the back side and actually bolt it. I don't want to screw this down. I actually want to bolt this with something behind, giving it a little bit more. I do got a little bit more of that stuff behind there, so maybe I could just double up on that stuff and then run some nice, just run something behind it, just give it a little bit more rigidity. I don't want that just breaking off and falling down while I'm driving around. That would be unfortunate. Another thing I got for the fuel pump is I got a nice old weather pack relay for that. So my plan here is once this guy's all mounted up, I'm going to go ahead and we'll actually do that together. I'll show you guys how we do that when we do the fuel pump, but we'll go ahead and run a power wire off of this, and we'll run that right to the relay, and then from the relay to the fuel pump, and then the fuel pump will be grounded. And then I'm going to go ahead and find which wire on the original fuel pump has the signal from the ECU, that originally when you turn the key and that went ahead and turned the fuel pump on. I'll find out which wires that is, and then I'll go ahead and tap into that relay, and that'll actually activate that relay, send my power down. So should be nice and clean, nice little install, give it the right power that it needs. And I have heard that that old power wire from those cars was not, one, able to handle the extra power from the fuel pump, and or it can just get really old and you just don't want to do that anymore. So got the all the wires for the head unit. We'll go ahead and get those done up too here. I got those couple of dudes over here all ready to go, and should be good. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to look really nice. It's going to look clean. It's, I mean, not going to look factory by any means, but I think it'll look, you know, as factory as something can look, you know, after the factory. One thing I am going to probably go ahead and shoot some video on is this is one room that I'm working on right now down in my basement. And it is about, probably 75-80% framed out right now. Coming along really nice. This is actually an egress window I put in. That is not something that I would recommend to anyone to do. I would recommend having that one contracted out. That was very, 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 very difficult to do, but it did turn out really nice. So I will probably go ahead and shoot some video as I'm finishing this off. All we got to do, I just got this thing from Menards. Kind of cool, nice little stand for this, for my little saw here. Harbor Freight special. Love Harbor Freight. And so we're just going to go ahead and finish out that little bit of framing there. This little section here is going to be a nice little cove, and then there'll be a closet here and stuff. But I'll go ahead and shoot some video while I'm doing that as well. You know, everything I would love to do, nothing but car stuff. But again, you know, sometimes it's nice to, you know, have something a little bit different and whatever else. So, true story. That was mine when I was about the age of my son now, so we're going to pass it down. Memories. How sweet. Okay, anyways, we'll go ahead and set you guys up on a time lapse here. You guys can watch me probably fight and swear and whatever else, but we're going to start laying all this stuff out exactly where we want it. I'll mark some holes, mark holes, drill holes. For those two, this guy is going to have probably a couple over here for the coax cables, and then on this side we'll do probably 3 or 4. Power and the ground are both very heavy, so this one's probably going to have maybe 2 or 3 holes there, and then a couple for the speaker wire. So we'll drill a handful of wires for all that stuff, a couple holes for all that. Just get this whole thing ready to go as far as all the holes drilled, and then we'll go ahead and get that stuff sprayed. We'll lay that thing down, and then after the fact I can go back and just cut little stars and then feed the wire through, and that way I'm not drilling a hole through that fabric and it grabs and spins and tears everything off, and it'll just be a nightmare anyway. So we'll go ahead and set you guys up on a time lapse. You guys can watch me fail at live here, so let's check it out. Alright guys, so got that all taken care of. Got that on the back side, so I'm going to just take a file, just kind of run this stuff down, make sure it looks good. I got a little file over here I can use. But wanted to make a point. Sometimes what you got to do is just kind of slow down, really pay attention to what you're doing. You know, I started drilling some of these out and then realized some of them I couldn't remember what it even did. So I went ahead and wrote down what each one of them was for, you know, the little mounts. I just wanted to make little pre-holes for it. So these ones will be probably drilled out a little bit bigger as I make that for the amp like I was talking about earlier. But I went to go ahead and drill out these guys, the powers, because I was just going to make one big hole there. And then I remembered that I'm running this fuse box over here, so I won't have these giant power wires coming through the backside there. So I just kind of sat and thought about it for a second, slow down, you know, pay attention to what you're doing. So what we're going to do now is, you know, that big fuse box here will be mounted right here. We're going to go ahead and run the power wire out of there, underneath there, and then back out of here to the amp. And I mean, I know that's not that big of a deal, but again, it just kind of makes it, you know, clean up, look a lot nicer. People look in here, there's not just wires hanging out all over the place. The negatives, you know, we did all that, so the negatives come out, go down in there, then the negative will come out and go to there, and then our little blue turn-on wire will come out in the middle. So I think it'll turn out really neat. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean this thing up a little bit, and I'll go ahead and turn you guys back on when I'm laying down that sheet of the suede there. But I don't think you guys need to sit and watch me clean this thing up. That's not real exciting at all. Video might be getting a little bit long now. Here, we'll go ahead and turn this light off. Oh boy, where's the switch? There it is. So video might be getting a little bit long now. I haven't made one in a little while. Honestly, one of the big reasons I haven't done it in a little bit is my internet here is awful at best. Honestly, it really is. It took me 3 days to upload my last video, so working on actually getting some new internet so I can go ahead and get these things uploaded more often. I'd like to go ahead and just make them. If nothing else, I'll just make them about anything, honestly. I got that little Volkswagen I can go do kind of like a review on, or, you know, if I run out of parts, we'll keep trying to get these videos out for you guys. I want you guys to, you know, enjoy this as much as I am. I know I love watching, you know, Goon Squad. They got that crazy zombie apocalypse thing, big old military truck that they got, and B is for Build, and all those guys. I really love watching them, and I would just love to do this full time with you guys, you know. So we'll go ahead and again get this thing cleaned up, and we'll kind of move on from there. Alright, so here we have it, guys. Actually look pretty good, if I do say so myself. It's not completely done. I did run out of the spray while I was spraying that front side, so the back side there's still some pieces that are kind of hanging off, and it didn't quite want to stick down to the backside because, again, I didn't quite have enough of the adhesive. So I'll have to go ahead, and I wish I kind of would have pulled that over a little bit more. That stitch line is right there on the edge of the board, but you know, it's in the trunk. Again, not to say that you should accept something that's not perfect, but it kind of is what it is at this point. But I think it looks pretty good. A couple little pieces of wood in there that'll kind of come out as we do it, but I think that looks good. So now we got all those holes. You can kind of see a couple of those in there already. So now we can just go ahead and take a blade and just cut that fabric, and then as we feed the stuff through, it'll kind of push everything in there as it goes, and it'll look really nice. I'm actually really excited about that. So anyways, so the video is getting a little bit long. I'm sure it's probably well over half an hour already. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys prefer longer videos or shorter videos. Probably shorter a little bit more often. So I'll try and make some of these, you know, maybe more 10, 15, 20-minute videos, you know, every 2 or 3 days rather than one of these 30-minute videos that, you know, maybe a couple times a week or whatever it is. But one thing I would like to do or show you guys real quick is I'd like to go ahead and get a couple of these wires for the head unit kind of put together. You guys can kind of see how those little shrink wrap things work. But let's go ahead and do a couple of those real quick, and then we'll go ahead and end the video. Alright guys, well, I lied. I got all of my wire strippers and everything are outside, so I don't want to go out there to grab everything and make you guys wait. And I know the wife is getting the kids ready for bed and whatever else, so I need to go do the old husband fatherly duties. So we'll go ahead and save all that wiring and everything for the next video. We'll probably pop back out in the garage. Hopefully it warms up. It was all about 10 or 15 today. I know it's supposed to be all of -5 this coming morning. I gotta drive downtown for a little bit, but we'll go ahead and show a little bit more of the wiring on there. Maybe we'll go ahead and get that backer plate installed. Maybe start fishing some of the wires through there, and hopefully be able to get this thing up and running here pretty soon. I'm actually really excited. But don't forget, even during a zombie apocalypse or apocalyptic events, pandemics, whatever we got going on, make sure you guys stay busy. And remember, your hands ain't dirty, you ain't bleeding, you ain't doing it right.